you have mistakes or not. But as a policy, no, we don't have.
Have there been mistakes made in this crackdown? Yes?
Self-evidently, yes, for one reason, because when you don't prepare yourself for a new situation, you're going to make mistakes.
Okay. Have the people who made the mistakes been found accountable? Have they been punished?
Some of them, yes, according to the evidences. But you cannot punish anyone according to rumors or allegations. So this is judicial committee, independent judicial committee. It's its job to detain people if they are guilty and to send them to the court for prosecution.
So some people have been found accountable?
Yeah, according to my knowledge, from the very beginning.
Last week, an independent United Nations commission who interviewed more than 225 people issued a report. What it said was that your government committed crimes against humanity. And they went on: torture, rape, and other forms of sexual violence against protesters, including against children. What do you say to them? I mean, what I'm saying again and again is that protesters were beaten. Things happened to them. Do you acknowledge that? Do you acknowledge what the UN said?
Very simply, I would say send us the documents and the concrete evidences that you have, and we'll see if that's true or not. You have a lot of allegations now.
Did the UN not send you these documents?
Nothing at all.
You mean the first you're
They didn't
here?
they don't have even the names. Who are the rape people, or who are the tortured people? Who are they? We don't have any name. They didn't.
But they've issued...
Sorry?
Mr. President, they have issued this report. They have accused you and your regime.
According to what?
Well, according to what they said, it's 225 people, witnesses, men, women, children, whom they interviewed and identified. And that's when they called it crimes against humanity.
We are government. We have government. We have institutions. They should send us the documents. As long as we don't see the documents and the evidences, we cannot say yes. That's normal. We cannot say just because the United Nations. Who said that the United Nations is a credible institution, first of all?
Who says that the United Nations...
We know that you have the double standard in the world, in the United States policy, in the United Nations that's controlled by the United States and the West. So it has no credibility. So it's about evidences and documents. Whenever they have, we can discuss it. Just to discuss a report that we don't see any reality related to it, just a waste of time.
You do not think that the United Nations is a credible organization?
No, for one reason. They haven't implemented, they never implemented any of the resolution that related to the Arab world, for example, to the Palestinians, to the Syrian land. Why don't they? If they talk about human rights, what about the Palestinians suffering in the occupied territory? What about my land and my people that left their land because it's occupied by Israel? Of course not.
You haven't...
For every citizen, it's not for me as president. I'm telling you about the perception in the whole region.
You do not think the United Nations is credible?
No, never. It's not something new. Before my generation, it's something we inherited as a concept, as belief.
You have an ambassador to the United Nations?
Yeah, it's a game you play, but that doesn't mean you believe in it.
I see.
Yeah.
Even some of your armed forces are not remaining loyal. Some of them have defected, and some of them are fighting now against you.
What do you mean by defected?
Well, some of your armed forces have left the military.
No, but every year, in the normal situation, you have thousands of soldiers that fled from the army. You have it normal. When you have this situation, you have a little bit more. You have higher percentage. And then you have some few officers that leave the army to be against you. And this you cannot say, if you talk about deflection in the army, is different from having few people deflecting. So we cannot generalize.
You don't think that there are a great many?
No,
you think it's just a few?
You have different situation. You are in Syria now. You see, most of the things are stable. If you have defection in the army, you cannot have stable country or stable major cities like Damascus, Aleppo, and the majority of Syria is stable.
You describe your country now as a stable country?
In most of the areas, yes. You have trouble, you have turbulence, but not to the extent that you have a divided army. If you have divided army, you're going to have real war. You don't have war. You have instability is different from war.
You do not feel now that you are at the brink of a civil war?
No.
No?
No, not because of our policy, because of the history of this society. We don't think that we are on the brink of civil war, because the people are aware about the need to live together. That's why.
I want to make this clear. You say that the country in general is stable. Certainly we see here in Damascus, since we've been here, it's business as usual. But there are areas of this country, an hour and a half away, in which there is still fighting, in which there is still protests.
That's right.
Do you see that as something important, people fighting for their freedom, or do you see it as a little something here and a little something there?
No, you have different components. Not everybody is fighting for the freedom. You have people who want freedom, and that's why we have reform, because we recognize those people. And most of the people that they need freedom, they didn't demonstrate. Not everybody in the street demonstrating for freedom. You have different components. You have extremists, religious extremists. You have outlaws, people who have been convicted in the court and they've been escaping for years now, drug smugglers, and you have like-minded people of al-Qaeda and those. So it's different components. You have money coming from outside just for the media, propaganda. They give money to people, they demonstrate for 15 minutes or for half an hour, then in the media you see demonstration. So you have different components. You have everything. You have real demonstrations, you have peaceful demonstrations, you have militants, you have terrorists, you have everything in the same place sometimes.
So here you have what seems to be much of the world condemning you. So what's the biggest misconception? Why is there this misconception, and you were saying the country is stable, we have some factions. What's the misconception?
First of all, who is the most of the world? Most of the West, you mean?
Not just the West, Turkey. What, Turkey, Jordan,
Turkey is not most of the
members, that's not the West, the members of the Arab League, they are saying to you, they are imposing sanctions, some of them are telling you to step down. These are your neighbors.
There's agenda for those countries. It's a political game. It's not because they don't care about the killing, they don't care about democracy. Most of these countries, they have agenda. I'm not going to talk about it now. I'm not going to talk about their agenda, because we have information, but when we have evidence, we'll announce it. But this is not because they care about the Syrian people.
Right.
If we talk about Turkey and the Arab League.
Yeah.
But going back to the condemnation, no, we still have good relation with most of the world, not vice versa. Even with the neighboring country, we still have normal relation.
With who?
With our neighbors. With
not
Iraq.
Jordan.
With Lebanon, we have trade, we have normal.
Well, Lebanon. Yeah.
With Iraq.
But what is the agenda, for example, of Turkey or Jordan or the Arab League?
I'd rather ask them. I wouldn't answer on their behalf. They will tell you if they have agenda.
Do they want to destroy you?
You should ask them. I cannot talk about their will. I don't know about their will, to be frank.
One of the things that the Arab League has asked for consistently is to have monitors, to have objective people come and visit these areas where there is discontent.
Yeah.
Will you now allow monitors to come into this country?
Of course. I said
of course?
We want that, but in line with our sovereignty.
What does that mean?
What does it mean?
Yeah,
we do everything in cooperation with the Syrian government. You have state here.
Yeah, but
they cannot just come and do whatever they want.
But if you have monitors, they have to be free to look around. They can't
of course
be.
They are free.
They can't. But they're saying they have to be free with your people accompanying them. Then they're not independent.
They ask for protection, so they need our people. They are asking for protection. How can they go to conflicts and being killed? If they want, this is their responsibility.
I'm going to ask this again because I want it very clear. This is important. Will you allow monitors, outside monitors, to come into your country and look around, to go to these other cities, to Homs, for example? Yeah. Will you allow them to come? Yes or no?
Yeah, as principle, of course we said yes.
Under what circumstances?
To be in line with our sovereignty, to do everything in cooperation with the Syrian government. They cannot say they're going to send, for example, 15,000. It's two sides. It's contract. You don't make contract from one side. It's a technical issue. You have technicalities. I don't know everything about these technicalities.
Okay, but are you...
How to move, how to prepare, how to protect them, what their job, what's our job. We are party. You cannot have protocol, just to explain to you very clearly, you cannot accept protocol that's made there and we don't have anything to discuss, very simply.
Are you now negotiating with the Arab League?
Of course, that's what we are doing. Yeah, of course, we're
You
still
are?
negotiating, yes.
So you think that monitors will be allowed to come soon?
Of course, I said we ask this. Before
You
they,
ask for monitors?
Yeah, before they have this initiative.
Can they travel wherever they want?
Of course. But according to certain rules, how to discuss these rules, they're going to, when you make contract, you discuss it. At the very beginning, they didn't want to discuss it with us. We said, no, if we don't discuss it, we cannot sign it. It should be discussed in details.
Are you now discussing with the Arab League allowing monitors to come?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Can outside foreign reporters come? They have not been allowed.
No, they were allowed, and you are here.
I am here, and I have a correspondent here.
And but you've been here for 2 days now. Did anyone tell you where to go, where not to go? Nobody. You are free to go wherever you want.
I am appreciative that I have been allowed here and that you've granted an interview.
No.
Can other foreign correspondents, American and others, come into this country now?
Yeah, exactly.
We have not heard this. You were saying yes?
You have to hear the truth. You have to look for the truth.
Well, I'm asking you now.
But that doesn't mean they can come without a visa. We are a country. They have to take visa. We give visa to people. Maybe we don't give visa to people. We like any other country. Again, it's about sovereignty.
Okay, but
that doesn't mean anyone can come anytime and do whatever they do.
I grant you, but as soon as you say visa, it means this one can't come. That in general now, can foreign correspondents come to this country?
And we've been receiving the delegation from Europe, from the United States, from the rest of the world.
No, sir, you have not been receiving delegations.
I met with them.
Foreign correspondents?
Of course, foreign correspondents. They can give you the articles. They made interviews with me.
But now...
I met with 2 British recently, 1 French. We had, and others.
Let me ask you once more time so we're clear. In general, can foreign correspondents, if they are accredited, come to this country?
Of course they can come.
They can?
Yeah, of course.
You said that if there is any outside attempt to bring you down, it would mean an earthquake. What do you mean by that?
Syria is the fault line in the Middle East. You know, the Middle East generally is very diverse in ethnicities, in sects, in religions. But Syria, the most diverse, and this is the fault line where all these diversity meet. So it's like the fault line of the earth. Mm-hmm. When you play with it, you'll have earthquake that is going to affect the whole region. So playing doesn't mean to overthrow me or to deal with me. It's not about me. It's about the fabric of the society in this region. That's what I meant.
You know, your father led this country for 30 years until his death. You have now led the country for more than a decade.
Yeah.
If the Arab Spring means anything, it seems to be that the era of one family rule is over.
Yeah. No, I never supported being a dynasty. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, being a dynasty.
You're not raising your son to succeed.
No. And my father never spoke with me in politics. You don't believe this. And he never tried to prepare me. He always wanted me to be a president. Against what you hear in the media that he asked me to come from London. He wanted me to go back to London to continue, and I refused.
But your older brother was supposed to take your father's place. When he was killed, your father asked you to come back.
My brother had no position when my father was there, and I had no position. I was nothing in the party. I was in the military since I was doctor, nothing else.
But your father did not expect his sons to take his place?
Never. He never spoke about this.
Really?
Yeah.
Then with all due respect, you're a doctor, you're an ophthalmologist. How did you become the leader of this country?
I was a military doctor, and according to our laws, that's military law, you can move from sector to sector within the army.
Okay.
So I left I was a military doctor. Even when I was in London, I was a military doctor. The army sent me to London, not the Ministry of Higher Education, for example, or anything, or the university. And I was in the army since 1985, since I was a student at the school. Few people knew that. I wasn't a civil doctor. So anyway, when I became president, I became president through the party after President Assad died. When he was alive, I was nothing. I didn't have any position.
But when your father died,